Hola, mi gente. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette, and welcome to When the Shift Hits, a podcast for people who are looking for the message in the mess, who are willing to look at the darkness but not be consumed by it, and for those who want to turn anxiety into action. Now, if you're looking for clarity in uncertain times, this is a space to reflect, heal, and take action. So let's get into it. Today is a really good day for you to get active and start calling your representatives. We have to hold them accountable for the decisions that they're making and how they're voting. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to show you a tool that I think is going to make that a whole lot easier so that you too can be a part of the solution. Last week, the House of Representatives, led by MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, well, they took a vote on the 2025 budget proposal that our current president wants passed. And guess what? They passed it. Now, only Republicans voted in favor of this proposal, and it still has to go to the Senate. But why is this important? Well, it's important because what they're asking us to do is to take a $2 trillion hit in spending cuts to federal programs that help the American people. You may be asking yourselves, are we lowering the deficit with these cuts? The answer to that is no. That's not what's happening. We are being asked to reduce $2 trillion in spending cuts to programs like Medicaid, possibly Medicare, SNAP food stamps, hospice care, etc., just so that the current president can get a $4.5 trillion piggy bank so that he can extend and increase the tax breaks to the top 1%. Because Bezos and Zuckerberg and Elonia, they really need the money because they're just doing so much for the American people. Now, the budget proposal that got passed by MAGA Republicans adds, guess what? $4 trillion to our deficit. This is not fiscally responsible, and it only benefits a few billionaires or multimillionaires at the top. The rest of us, well, we're paying for these subsidies to these rich grifters. And these budget cuts are affecting who? Well, they're affecting we, the people. A not so fun fact is that there are 72 million people that use Medicaid for their healthcare needs. I know most of us don't use it, right? But these programs affect the people that are most vulnerable among us. People below the poverty line, children, seniors, people with disabilities, veterans, people in hospice care. If you Google Medicaid in your state and use one of their calculators to see if you qualify, you will be completely appalled at how little income you can make to qualify. And I picked the state of Oklahoma. To be clear, we're taking money away from people that are below the poverty line. We're taking resources and services and healthcare services from poor, pregnant young women, people with disabilities, children who bear zero responsibility for their financial outcome. And we're saying, F it, they'll have to figure it out. We're taking resources from seniors who account for 80% of Medicaid participants. These are our parents, our grandparents that we are trying to take care of. And do you know that 60% of seniors using Medicaid have Alzheimer's? This is such a devastating disease that it requires 24/7 care, and so many American households are affected by it. Nursing homes run about $12,000 to $17,000 a month. I don't know about you, but I can't afford that. Medicaid makes it possible for families to make sure that their parents can get a level of care that most of us can't afford. Now, these are people who worked, paid their dues, and are now in a stage of life where they have most likely a very fixed income, and their health, is for the most part in decline because as you age, things start to pop up. And what we're saying to seniors is, hey, hope you had a good ride, good luck. Thoughts and prayers, right? Now, who else gets affected by this? Who else is part of these 72 million? Because I feel like half the country voted for this administration thinking that none of this was going to affect them. And it affects other people, but it doesn't affect me. And now I'm showing you, or at least I'm trying to show you, how it will affect you if it hasn't already. Now, the next group that it affects is veterans. And this is the part, this is why I actually made the video in the first place, is because last week I woke up to a video on TikTok from a lady in Massachusetts. And her handle there is Chris Wing Walker. So please look up the video. And she works in hospice in Massachusetts, taking care of veterans and seniors and children who have terminal illnesses and are near end of life. And she was saying that the Office of Management and Budget had frozen those very vital Medicaid funds, which leaves those people just hanging. She also said that about half of her patients in hospice are vets. And this really breaks my heart and it boils my blood simultaneously. We as a society take a lot of pride in, paying lip service to the phrase, thank you for your service, which by the way, a lot of vets have expressed their dislike for that phrase in the first place. But now I understand much better why. And it's because that's just a phrase. Those are just words we're saying without it costing us anything. You know how we show that we thank them for their service? We thank them by making sure that we have their backs when they get back to civilian life. That if they're unhoused, that we provide services so that they can get back on their feet. That if they have mental health issues caused by their service, by the way, that there are mental health professionals to help them navigate PTSD with tools so that they can live a good life. That if they have illnesses and disabilities caused by their service, that they receive medical care that in all honesty, they've earned, that they can live a fruitful life with their families when they get back. That's how we can say thank you for your service and mean it. But what we're doing right now and what we've been asked to do is essentially to take away the lifeline for a lot of these vets. We must do right by our vets. Please call your reps today. Now, if you're okay with that, then hey, you might as well, I can't believe you even made it this far, but just skip the rest of the video. But if you're not okay with that, then I'm asking you to take action. I'm asking you to contact your representatives and let them know that this is not okay. Please pay attention. This game has never been about Republicans versus Democrats, about the left versus the right. This has always been about rich versus the rest of us. You know what they're doing while we're all fighting and pointing the finger at each other? And, blaming each other and blaming immigrants and blaming everybody and their mama for what's going on? What the few people at the top are doing is they're divvying up all of our wealth, buying up our land. They're buying up housing so that they can control the rents. And they're getting rid of agencies and programs that protect we, the people, as consumers. The sick part about this whole thing is that they actually have a little competition going amongst themselves to become the first trillionaire, which under this administration is definitely going to happen because a lot of the legislation and a lot of the changes that are being made at the federal level by this administration are geared towards benefiting the top 1%. Elonia, whose business empire is built on $38 billion in government contracts, is running around DC, illegally firing people and dismantling federal agencies that protect our consumer rights. You know why? Because they were investigating many of his business ventures. And in case you haven't noticed, we the people are not the 1%. So I will never understand for the life of me why so many people are so intent on defending and protecting the tax liability of these billionaires and mega millionaires when they have all the means and all the resources to pay what's fair, just like the rest of us. In the meantime, this president, MAGA Republicans, and Elonia have the audacity to tell us, hey, rough times are coming. You have to tighten your belts. That we need to make sacrifices, that this is the patriotic thing to do. Really? Because if we really want to tighten our belts and make things happen in the federal government, which granted needs to be cleaned up, maybe we shouldn't be subsidizing Tesla or SpaceX or making Starlink the next, federal payment service. Elonia has billions in government contracts. How about we cut some of those? My goal here is to make sure that we understand the gravity of the choices that this administration is making and to inspire you to take action. Now, if you're a MAGA Republican and you thought that this was not going to affect you, and now that you're in the find out stage of this administration, where you're realizing, holy crap, wait a minute, I didn't know this was going to affect me. I didn't know US aid was subsidizing my farm. and now I'm going to lose it. I didn't know I was going to lose my food stamps. How am I supposed to feed my kids? Now, I've seen videos of MAGA people that were celebrating when the administration won. They were mocking people. They were having a good old time. And then I've recently seen videos of those very same people crying, talking about, I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids. They froze my SNAP card. People crying that they were fired from the government job, but they voted for this administration. We have 1,400 vets and counting who got laid off from the VA. You know, most of the people that work at the VA are veterans themselves. So all these savings, all these cuts, yeah, thank you for your service, right? So again, if you're a MAGA Republican that voted for this administration and you thought that you were going to go unscathed, I would like to refer you back to what the rest of us were talking about during the election cycle, which was Project 2025. Please go take a look at it. Go look at the different departments, federal government agencies, and what they're planning on doing. Look at their plans. I guarantee you, most Americans will be touched by the policies they are attempting to implement right now. We cannot allow this to happen. And so now I'm going to say it to you. As much as I would love to be like super sympathetic and, just give you a hug and just feel bad for you, I'm sorry, but there is work to be done. So right now, no one has the luxury to be sulking. Right now, it is incumbent upon you to join the rest of us and contact your representatives and let them know that while you voted for this administration, you did not vote for these policies. In red districts, your voice is going to carry a lot more weight than the rest of us because you are their base. So all of us have to put pressure on our representatives before this budget becomes law. Once we realize that we're not on opposite sides, that we're getting played by the people on the top, we need to come together to hold our representatives accountable. And if they're not representing your values, and if they're affecting your life in a detrimental way, by the way, because of the way they're voting, then you need to vote them out without any regard to political affiliation or anything like that. Time is of the essence. The House just passed its budget last week, but soon it's going to go to the Senate. And now the Senate has already voted on their own budget proposal. So at some point, the two bodies of the government, the House and the Senate, are going to have to come together to negotiate what the ultimate budget proposal will be. And this is where we, the people, come in, and why it's important that we're all participating in this process. All right. Well, I hope I made my case. And now on to the good news. I want to share with you an app that my daughter sent to me a few days ago, and I think is a very helpful one. I know we're getting bombarded with unconstitutional executive orders every day. We're getting bombarded with people getting laid off and the suffering of the people. And there's so much coming at us that it's very easy to just feel overwhelmed, powerless, and hopeless. But nothing is further from the truth. No one is coming to save us. We do have to save ourselves. And that's going to require all of us to come together and to voice our opinions and to hold our representatives accountable. To that end, let me share the app that I'm talking about. Now, the app is called 5 Calls. It has a blue square and 5 white stars. You can download it from Apple's App Store, or you can download it from Google's Android store. And then once you download it, you open it, the first thing is going to ask you for is, where are you located? And so you put in your zip code and what issues matter to you the most. Now, once you enter that information, it will populate the screen with a list of your specific representatives. And then you'll see a list of the issues and bills or proposals. And you can select each one of them, or the ones that call out to you. And then they provide you with a script and the names and phone numbers of your reps so that you can just tap on the phone number and it will call directly from the app. Look at the script and you can read it and you can leave a message. Now, if you don't want to use the script, you don't have to. If you have a personal story, that's even better, because we all know politicians love to go out into town halls and talk about Susie from Kansas called and said that her father is a vet and he's in hospice care. And all of a sudden, Medicaid funds have been frozen. So he's unable to get the care that he needs at the end of life. And so that's compelling. So you can read the script, or you can tell your own personal story about how this is affecting you or your family or your friends or your neighbors or your city. Please just get out there and do it. When you call, if somebody answers, then they're going to ask you for your name and they're going to ask you for your address. They want to confirm that you are one of their constituents. If you're leaving a message, then make sure that you do leave your name, your phone number, and your address so that they can confirm that you are indeed a constituent. Okay? And just like that, this is how easy it is for you to become active in our democracy. All right, everyone, so let's get busy. If you found this information helpful, please give us a like, put a comment, and hit the bell icon so that you can stay up to date when I release any new videos. Until the next time, stay engaged, keep the hope, and know that you are powerful.